Hello, welcome to Just the Facts. We are excited to bring you some new information today from a industry expert when it comes to online, internet, and phone, Miss Sara Hoagey from eliteBDC, the owner and CEO. Did I do that right?
You did it right, Bob. Yes, owner and CEO of eliteBDC.
We appreciate you coming by. The dealers are constantly asking, what's different today? Our leads are down, or our effective rate's down, or our quality, it's a moving target.
Yes.
So we were excited for you to come to our show today. We were both recently at a convention where we spoke to a bunch of dealers.
Yes, we did.
When we were at that convention, was there one or two things you picked up on? I know we work with dealers in the dealers, but when you get them all at once in a big room, right? Mm-hmm. Was there one or two things that you picked up on at that convention that you would care to share with other people, some things you might have heard?
I always think it's really important to really engage with the people that are in the room and see how they're feeling. And as a shareholder of an independent store, we take a look and see how our managers are feeling and our salespeople are feeling, and are we making an improvement month over month and year over year?
Sure.
How are we doing? And the number one question that everybody answered, and you probably saw, they raised their hand, was, okay, the market has shifted the past 6 or 8 weeks.
Sure.
Have you felt it? Do you feel it? Are things changing? Is your lead volume changing? Is it more difficult to sell to the clients? Are you having a harder time engaging with your clients? And it was pretty, you tell me, do you think it was a unanimous?
Yeah.
Everyone pretty much raised their hand. They can all feel it. And in my opinion, that's why they were there.
Yeah, for sure.
They were there to go, we can feel the market change. I think a lot of people, based on my conversations with them, decided last minute, I need to go to this convention because the market changed.
Yeah.
So they made a very, very quick, I need to be there. The market changed. If I do what I've done, I'm going to get what I got, and I better hurry up and make a change now.
You were gracious enough to be part of the panel I monitored for the dealers. We had a packed room. They had to bring in chairs, right?
They did. They had people standing.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you guys bring to the table, right? So It was nice to see people standing.
Yeah. And our whole topic, right, was about how to drive more traffic, spending more time, not money.
Right.
Right? I'd like to go there a little bit, right, if you don't mind. When we were there, you were sharing best practices for the BDC, right, which is obviously your strength. Is there just one or two things that you could maybe share with the dealers listening, that when you first go in to help a dealer, right, you obviously concentrate on the BDC.
I do.
Is there one or two things that's pretty commonly being done that could use some improvement? We won't say wrong, but things that need to be adjusted. Maybe they've been around a while, that kind of stuff. Is there one or two things you could talk about?
I think the common stuff. So I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this since 1999, so a long time. And in every single seat of a dealership, so not just BDC. The common denominator, the same things that you can always do are make sure your response time is low.
Okay.
Get back to customers really quickly. Your FTC and TCPA guidelines are, in most states, not Florida, but in most states are 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. at night. 50% of your traffic is coming in after 6 o'clock.
So you should be backloaded.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you have someone responding to requests or answering the phone. Up until 9 o'clock, you can have people answer the phone all the time. You can't make outbound calls after 9 o'clock, but you can have someone answer the inbound calls. So it's always response time. It's always answering. It's following FTC and TCPA guidelines. But then, there's some advanced stuff too that you can do. So those are the standard ones. Reading the customer questions when it comes to internet leads, making sure you're answering those first questions in the first line to the customer. So those are the standard. Those have been like best practices for 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
And then there's new stuff that you can do. And I was a little bit on a time crunch yesterday, so I was trying to go through everything quickly as possible. But an absolute game changer in the market for me, and for all of the clients I can recommend, is registering your telephone lines. So that's a new one. You have to make sure your telephone lines are registered. A lot of dealers feel, I'll just go out and buy a new phone line. No, don't go out and buy a new phone line. Register your phone lines, but more importantly, make sure they're remediated. Yeah.
What does that mean, register your phone?
I love the trust. So you have to make sure that your phone lines are registered with your business name with a company.
Okay.
With a company, with a carrier, with the carriers.
It has to be associated with a business.
Has to be associated with your business.
Okay, that makes sense.
Make sure it's with your area code, right?
Yeah.
Because customers aren't going to answer a different area code if they put in a request. They're not going to answer a 518 area code
Sure.
when they live in a 970 area code. So, buy lines with your area code and then, or purchase them, register those lines with the carriers and with your business. But then more importantly, the game changer is remediate your phone lines. And what I mean by that, Bob, an example is I call you from my business.
Okay.
You look at my number and go, nope, I don't want to answer that phone call. I'm going to block it. You have Verizon. You have just alerted all of Verizon that this is a potentially bad phone number. So don't take this call. The next time I go to call somebody else, I go to call Mike. He has Verizon. Verizon goes, this is a potentially spam phone number. We're going to flag this number as potentially spam. Mike is not going to answer my phone call because you've already warned all Verizon customers that it's a potentially spam number. So that's why a lot of what we call the connection rate is going down in the industry. So it used to be 30 or 40%, and it's going down to 20%.
Right. I've heard that from dealers. Yeah, I have.
You need to register the lines. You need to remediate the phone lines, and there's only a couple companies that really do that. So do some research and make sure you're doing that, and it pays for itself. So when your phone lines are registered and remediated, it pays for itself. So that's all I'm going to say.
Good insight. I've never heard that.
I feel like I'm bringing something new to the table because a lot of people don't talk about it.
I've never heard that before. I've been around a while.
And I want to say we've been doing it for a year and a half. And it's not just the automotive industry, it's any retail industry. Sure. It is a game changer in the industry.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. You touched on something that I want to get your opinion on, right? Your opinion. You don't have to go by the guidelines. Your opinion. You said response time. Mm-hmm. What's worse? Or better, any way you want to look at it. So is it a delayed response time that's personal? Or is it an immediate response time that's generic?
You're talking about artificial intelligence?
I'm talking about, as a consumer, it gets very frustrating when you start talking to bots you know aren't real. You get emails that are pre-generated. You get communication. You're not even talking to anyone. Nothing more frustrating when you're on a phone trying to reach someone. You got to take 6 steps. They ask you all that information. Then when you get to that person, they ask you the same information, right? Mm-hmm. So the immediate responders, to keep that time down, is it effective? Or are you better off? Mm-hmm. Are you better off as a dealer to be not slow, but have it be a person? Have it be, what would be your advice to that?
I am very much so into use it as a backup.
Okay.
I love relationships. I love people. I love peopling. I decide who I'm going to purchase houses, cars.
Based on people.
Yeah. That's where relationships are. And I will tell you the number one reason why people decide to purchase a car from a dealership is because of response time, because they already told the dealer everything that they would want to know. They've already established that relationship. And do you really want to go do it all over again with someone who was late to respond? Okay. So hypothetically, you put in a request to me and you put in a request to another dealership. I call you right away. I get to know you. You tell me everything that you're looking for. Now the next dealer is late to respond and they try contacting you and you're like, do I really want to have that same conversation again with another person? So I have found it's a benefit when you're taking that relationship away from another opportunity, another dealership. You're establishing that relationship with me. I'm asking you questions. You have to ask questions. You have to get to know the person. You have to listen to them. I like artificial intelligence or bots when you don't have the time, when you don't have the manpower. Now, I will tell you, we sat at a table yesterday for lunch. I don't know if you were there for this part of it, but I did have a gentleman say, we used artificial intelligence to book service appointments for my staff, and it was great. And I said, okay, well, how did the upsell go with service appointments. And he looked at me and he goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, I train the staff to upsell service appointments on the initial call because I don't know if you're like me, but if I'm going to wait for 30 minutes for an oil change and then an advisor tells me, hey, you're really due for a 45,000 mile service. Do you have 2 more hours to wait? I don't have 2 hours to wait. I mentally planned for 30 minutes to get in and get out.
Yeah.
But if I knew that over the phone in advance, I mean, I just upsold a client 2 hours in a service. They're mentally prepared. They're booked the right way. They knew they had a loaner or a shuttle or a drop off.
Right.
That's something that artificial intelligence isn't doing right now.
Now that's about.
And how much money was left on the table?
Yeah, and when you do it for how many transactions you did, that's
50%.
That's a multiplier.
So it's not like, and he laughed. The first thing he said to me was, how often are you upselling, and what is the average percentage of upsell? And I'm like, it's 1 out of 2, it's 50%. And he looked at me and he goes, we made X amount of dollars last year, and I almost wonder how much we lost because we didn't have anyone upselling.
Yeah. So when consumers today, and we talked about this a little bit the other day, what used to take place in the dealership now takes place online. Right, literally everything a consumer used to go to the dealership to find out is now online.
Right.
Everyone's priced to market. You can go to 10 places, find out what your car's worth. You can pull your credit online. You get your credit score online. You can get your payment online. You down. All that used to be conversation the salesman used to gain confidence and have rapport with
That's
them.
right.
So now when they do get there, conversation's got to be different. You don't take what they just spent 14 hours doing and start them from scratch. You agree with that?
I agree.
So
I'm one of them.
yeah. And it is ironic. We're in the business, but we buy cars too, right? And when you do become that customer, it quickly comes back why they're frustrated. We lose sight of it because we're in the business, and it's hard to remember what it's like to be a customer when you're in the business. As soon as you become a customer, it all comes back to you.
That's right.
It all becomes immediate. So we ask dealers, we have 30,000 of them, so we are constantly working on how to stay sharp and what do you need and how can we help. Same, just like you. And dealers are telling us that what's become important to the consumer has changed, right? Especially since COVID. And that they're concerned about, where'd you get the car? What was wrong with it? Right?
It's like my everyday question.
Right.
That's what we listen to all day long.
Yeah. So what would you tell a dealer listening today or watching today? What's 1 or 2 points you could give them on how to address that? Because that's what the consumer wants.
That's right.
So,
I listen to hundreds of calls,
a
month. It's almost the same questions over and over.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but you wouldn't even have to have someone calling in if it was already made available to them online. Well, Sarah, I don't have anyone to answer my phones. Well, if you would have just put it in the description in the first place, they wouldn't be calling in. So let's talk about that. One for me is put all of your UCI information, all of the work that you did on your UCI. So
UCI.
Used car inspection.
There you go.
Sorry, car girl lingo. New brakes, new pads, new rotors, third key. The third key is like magical for used cars. Like they're $200. So if you have a third key, put it in there. We did an alignment on the vehicle. We knew the last owner. They did all of their service with us. Homegrown, which we use in Florida every day, right? Because no one is from Florida originally. Put all of your UCI, new battery, oil change, coolant flush, anything that you have done to get that vehicle ready, because the customer goes, I can get that car, the same one, right down the street. It's a lower price. And you look and you're like, well, did you do all of this work? Did you do $1,000 or $2,000 worth of used car inspection UCI work to get this car ready for sale? We do everything right. The next part is I laugh when dealers go, Sarah, I'm not selling any cars. I'm also like, you're not giving your clients anything either. You are up against, especially in the used car industry, you're up against new car franchises. Right. Chevy. Look at Chevy. You get an oil change. I think you get a tire rotation. Yeah. You get Chevy rewards. If you don't start having some value-added propositions, you're going to be in the dust. So One of the items, I mean, I think you saw, like, people are going, Sarah, they were coming up, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? And one guy goes, I think that I actually have to do a vehicle exchange or vehicle return policy. And I said, look, this is what I see. Take it for face value. I mean, there's a major player. I'm not going to say any words, but they have a money back guarantee. And what I have learned by listening, because you can openly listen to the reasons why their vehicles are returned, is there wasn't a test drive. 85% of customers are telling us they still want to test drive the car before they buy it.
Feel the wheel, yeah.
That's right. And they have a great exchange program. Believe it or not, the clients that I work with, when they offer an exchange or return, it might be one car a month.
Yeah, it's less than 2%.
It's less than 2%. Most of them are like 1 or 2%.
Right.
For me, for that peace of mind, what are you losing? What are you leaving on the table because you didn't offer that?
Right.
I mean, this is a no-brainer. They need peace of mind. Do you have to do a birthday detail? Do you have to do a car wash? You guys are going to have to get back to the basics here. You're going to have to do above and beyond what other people are doing, or have a service rewards program if you want to earn my business.
I want to get your take on something. We talk about it a lot. We talk about it on this program, almost every program. We tie it in somehow. And that is, no two used cars are the same.
Right.
Right? We forgot that along the way. Everything's priced the same, looks the same, feels the same. And consumers are now asking about, was it a good car? Where'd you get it? Why'd you get it?
Yep.
When it comes to the description, right? I know the buzzword, which no one understands, but they like to talk about, is SEO optimization. You understand it, but the dealers don't. Right? So there's not a car made today without windows, locks, tilt cruising, right?
Why is that still on there?
Yeah.
Why is that still in the description, by the way? I just want to know.
It still is. You go to most websites, it's still on there. What would you tell them to put in a description before you answer? We get asked all the time at Carfax, you mean I should tell them I bought it at an auction? Isn't that derogatory? You mean I should tell them it's been in an accident? Is that derogatory?
Yes.
You mean you should? What's your take on that?
If 2020 and COVID didn't teach us anything, it was authenticity and transparency.
Okay.
And you're really not going to get anywhere without those two things.
I agree.
They're going to find out eventually. The Carfax kind of has it on there.
Yeah,
so,
we do. Yeah.
You might as well just put it all out there and be transparent and be honest and open. And that's what's going to keep you going. And honestly, you're going to see it in online reputation score anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you hide it, it's going to come back to bite you. It's like telling the customer to come in from 2 hours away and the car's not available. It's going to come back to bite you.
We work with dealers and they ask us all the time, what can I do? What can I do? The dealers' overwhelming feedback to us that made it through COVID, got leaner, meaner, less employed. You know the drill. You're in the same world we are. They said gone are the days of trying to drive as much traffic as possible to the dealership and figuring it out when they get there. That proverbial, just send them and we'll figure it out, right?
Okay.
So what they're trying to do, and they're learning, that's our job, right? Is let the internet find the right buyer for the car, right? The question is, do you want 100 leads or 10 people at the door? Right? The only reason you wanted a lead in the first place was getting to the door. Wouldn't you rather them just show up and be ready by the car, right? So things like description, things like transparency, things like having your staff be able to answer questions.
That's right.
They're going to ask, right? You think about what a dealer does today. They're using generic descriptions with equipment.
Fluff.
Windows, locks, tilt, cruise air. Then they give photos of the windows, locks, tilt, cruise air. Then they give a window sticker which says, right? So are we overstating it because we're Carfax and we believe in history, obviously, but from the BDC perspective, from your perspective, is there really that much merit in separating your description from what you call fluff? So I assume you're going to agree, but you don't have to. Right. I want your opinion.
Right. So we write vehicle comments. I don't know if you know that, but we write vehicle comments, and we have a great library of comments that we use when we're writing descriptions. It does affect your Google score. It does affect what the customer's searching for. Yeah. They have to be good. I mean, what are they looking for? I am looking for a reliable 2020 Honda Accord, one owner. That has to be in your description. Yeah. Okay. That's what we're seeing on our end. I would take out the stuff that you don't need. Now, I do like awards. Do I like awards and accolades? Do I want to know if I'm interested in a performance vehicle? I'm a don't let my husband hear this, but I'm a total ultimate driving machine BMW fan. But I want to know that how many awards did this car win? Because I want everyone to know, like, that's what I'm driving. I love a performance vehicle, and I want that written in the description.
Okay.
I want to know how it performs, or if I'm after safety. If you're a mom, you're going after safety, what's the safety rating? So you have to almost take away the junk in there that you don't even need to worry about anymore, and put in the facts.
Okay.
Put in the facts.
There
You
you go.
know,
Yeah.
put in the facts. That's what people want to hear.
Okay. We always keep these to a timely manner. So we want to kind of wrap this one up. Great insight, by the way. But would you just take a couple minutes and let everyone listening to us or watching us on the video who you are and how to reach you, what you can do for them?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm Sara Hoagey. I'm from eliteBDC. I'm the CEO. I have been in every single seat of a car dealership. One of the first internet sales consultants, when Carfax started sending leads into car dealerships. I was one of the first people to start answering those through a fax machine, believe it or not. CRMs were still kind of new. That's how old I am. But I really worked my way up through a car dealership. Service manager, finance manager. People are like, you were a service manager? I was a service manager. Sales manager. Then I really got into BDCs, and I had a lot of dealers call me and say, I have an issue with my CRM, and so who used to work for you said you're really good at configuring CRMs. Can you do ours? Maybe can you do it on the side? So yes, I did a little moonlighting. I think that's how consultants really start their names. So I started setting up CRMs for dealers, and then setting up BDCs for dealerships, worked with large publicly owned dealerships all the way down. I really have a heartfelt for the independent community.
Sure.
And a few years ago, I had a group of, a 20 group, and they said, Sara, none of us want a BDC. We have a CRM, but if you start your own outsourced call center, all of us will use you. And that was it. And I was like, my husband goes, Sara, if you can't do it, nobody can.
Okay.
So now I have a large service and sales outsourced call center. I still do consulting as well. And it's just nice to help dealers who we back them up. We do a first response. We are answering calls. We're 24/7. The peace of mind. I mean, BDC turnover is no joke. What is it, like 40-50%?
Easily.
So we've been really, really fortunate to find a lot of very talented automotive people who want to work in automotive. They don't want to work in a car dealership anymore.
Right.
But they want to utilize their skills, and they have a tremendous background. We coach them, we train them, they move up within our company, and I feel really, really fortunate, very, very blessed with the opportunity that has been presented to my family. So
if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can, our business line is 407-307-1818, or Sara at eliteBDC.com. You can just even text my cell phone. It's 585-329-0538, and reach out to me on social media, or Bob knows how to get a hold of me.
I do. Well, we want to thank you very much for being part of the program. We were excited to talk to you. We have a lot of experts. We don't get a lot of BDC experts, so that was kind of cool and refreshing.
Cool.
So thanks for being part of the program. Thank you for joining us on Just the Facts, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.